Hello, youngsters. This is Pratiksha Thaplial.
And this is Digvijay Devkar, and welcome
to IYDC3. In today's episode, we will be discussing the fantastic entries we received for IYDC3, the Kids Furniture Design Challenge. And to discuss this, we have our internal jury for IYDC Design Challenge 3 and a very special guest who will be sharing their insights on the design entries of this competition.
Meet the internal jury of IYDC Design Challenge 3, Mr. Kunal Manusmare, the CEO of IYDC Social and Statueless Private Limited, and Mr. Devashish Sharma,
Hi.
the manager for the pool of mechanical design at IYDC Social.
Let me introduce you to a very special guest, Mr. Etimo Angels, who is currently working as a senior industrial designer at Allen Klingner, India.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Timo, could you please introduce yourself and tell us more about your journey in the field of industrial design?
Yeah, sure. So, Timo Engels is my name. I'm 29 years old now. I am originated in Germany, and since February of this year, I permanently relocated to Pune, India to work for the Indian subsidiary of my company, Allen Klingner. So far, I have had 2 jobs in industrial engineering and industrial design as well. So I did a training on technical product design for German automotive companies. We have built the robots and the tools that will be putting the cars together. So I'm very sufficient with CAD/CAM software, something like this. And after that, I went to university to study industrial engineering to get like a broader scope on the whole topic.
That's really interesting.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's a privilege to have a German discuss design of young designers. As Indians, we really appreciate German people, whatever they're doing in terms of design. And as the Indian design movement is at a nascent stage, we look forward to create enterprises and products
that's great.
The German does. Thanks.
I'd like to understand how different it is for you to coming from Germany and working in India, and what changes do you see, and how India is different from what you were actually doing in Germany, not work wise but the overall situation wise, and
Yeah, we would like to have more of cultural angle. What differences do you see?
Yeah, so this is probably the biggest challenge in my everyday's work, and also the reason why I came here. The working culture of Indian country, far away from Europe, from Germany, is very, very different from the German working culture. Right. But our company is a German-based company, so every day actually I'm trying to teach some German working culture also to the guys, to my employees and to my colleagues, and of course also you have to respect the local working culture. So it's a big challenge on every day to make ends meet. I have to respect what you want, but you also have to listen to me, and we have to find progress together. Yeah, right. It's great. I love it. It's so much fun. It's a one-up for the whole job.
Yeah. We're glad you're having fun.
Any specific challenge you would like to discuss in terms of the challenge you faced working with Indians? So frankly, we would want you to be a little open, because we would want to ponder over the problems from point of view of other people.
Yes, so
in terms to improve ourselves.
One point I'm facing is, so hierarchy is a very big thing in India, and might be good sometimes, but in many times I have faced the issue that one of the superiors of the company is saying something, and he might have a mad as stupid idea, for example, but everybody who's working for him is just going to be like, yeah, sir, I'm going to do it this way, without questioning it. And I would rather have even my own employees to tell me when I'm having a not such a good idea or something, to challenge it. And this is also what I'm trying to teach my employees at the moment, actually.
Great.
That's really
so use your brain.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Right?
Yes. I want you to develop. I want
Especially
you to develop
the
the
person
ideas.
Who's actually doing the job, they've got better insights on how to improve it.
Yes.
Somebody who's just overseeing it, they won't probably have the ideas about what the challenges are.
Yes.
To actually doing the task, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it always helps to have people who are actually doing the job come up with better ideas to improve the overall situation, come up with a better way to actually do things.
Exactly. Be brave and get into discussion, but don't just say yes and amen to each and everything that your superior says.
I agree.
It doesn't make sense.
I agree.
That's really insightful.
So Timo, welcome to IYDC Design Podcast. So firstly, I would like to know, being an industry professional, what are your impressions about the entries for this design competition we received?
So I was very astonished by the creativity. I think concerning the presentations, each and everyone did a very great job. As industrial designers, you're supposed to make good presentations, right? The renderings look great. The people were very, very creative. It's very colorful, very, very vibrant, so very appealing to kids. Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and also we had a very diverse range of participants. So the participants are not just catering to industry design field. We have many mechanical designers who have been the part of this competition as well, and mechanical engineers as well. So yeah,
I think it's even not just kids, right?
Yeah.
There are people who are actually working in the field who've contributed like in the competition, right?
Yes,
If I'm
yes,
not
yes.
wrong.
So there were students and also some industry professionals who participated in this competition. So it was an open competition, and we wanted to have each and every kind of participants possible. Yeah. So coming to the internal juries, I would like to know what were your impressions about the entries which we received.
I was equally happy with the creativity the youngsters showed. But the one area where I feel there is scope of improvement is practicality. In building any successful product, the challenge is to be staying. I mean, come up with something creative while staying practical, and that's where I saw. I mean, the youngsters had to look more towards practicality to build, to come up with better designs in order to grow, I would say. But obviously I'm very happy with the kind of creativity they have shown.
I agree with what he said. So I found a lot of people came up with very different ideas, and it was very unique, and they tried to incorporate some interesting stuff in it. But at the same point, most of the designs were not really that manufacturable for that sense, right? They kind of lost sense of parametrics in a sense, right? When they were designing stuff, and that I think is something that these guys need to focus more on, because if we want to build something that can actually be made, right, and in numbers, not
Especially
just one-off in custom parts, right?
Yeah.
In numbers, if you have to make something, it has to be manufacturable like that. Everything from the choice of material to the kind of design you have to the kind of features it's gonna have, it has to be something that something that can be repeated,
Yes,
you know,
it's completely
and that
agree.
is what makes a product actually profitable, right?
Yeah. So we would like to explore these things more, but maybe towards the end of this podcast. So let me introduce you to the format which we are going to follow. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick one design at a time, and we'll be having your thoughts and insights on that particular design. Okay. So can we start?
Yes.
Let's go.
So let's start with parts design. So what are your thoughts about it?
So parts design, I am a big fan of modern arts furniture and art deco. So I think this is really from the looks and from the shape, it's really an art piece. I would also put into my apartment, to be honest, although I don't have kids yet. Yeah, it's very versatile. I really love this caged up teddy bear in the
That is funny.
in his presentation. Yeah, you can stack it however you want to. The kids can do some drawings and paints on the side. Can sit on top. Can have their food. Yeah, so like it's a quite good design. It's very practical.
Yeah. And Devashish, what are your thoughts on that design?
Overall, looks wise it looks really nice, but I thought he kind of missed the brief on what we'd actually asked for. So we'd also asked for something where you can actually feed the kid and you can teach the kid, and they can sit and all. So there are quite a things missing from the actual brief. So it's like a half-baked project based on what we'd actually asked for, right? It's good looking for sure. He's made like it's a simple and very elegant design. It's like a stackable option where you can add according to your requirements going down the line and whatnot. And it's also kind of very safe. But I think he should have actually worked a little more on the brief and added more things which actually made the product according to what the requirement was.
Yeah.
So my input on that is, it's frankly, I don't see it as a product. So let's say if I want to get done my bedroom for my kid, I would love to get something like this designed for my kid to put his toys and stuff. But I don't see it as a product that, let's say this product is kept in the IKEA and people are buying it. People may develop it according to their need, but this is not a product which you can put on the shelf and people would buy it. So I don't really see a commercial viability in this particular thing, and that's where I've given him less marks. So yeah, that is my concern with it. Yeah, the aesthetic wise, it is pleasing.
What problems did you find with it?
Yeah, so as I said, it's you can sit on it as a piece of furniture, and you can stack it, and you can put your toys and teddy bears inside, but that's about it.
Right.
So there's not too much else to do with it. And I agree with you. It's probably like from the design, the manufacturing, this is going to be quite costly. It's not so simple to manufacture. And so also I don't think that a lot of people would buy this just like off the shelf.
Right.
This won't be like a cash cow or something like this, I guess. It's more like a single arts piece you could also maybe use in your office or something like this, because it looks
that
nice.
actually makes more sense.
Yes, it looks nice, but like my child, to be honest, in an age from 1 to 5, doesn't really need art pieces in the childhood bedroom.
I mean, this is not something you produce into a mass scale and you start selling it to make money.
Yeah.
This is not a product.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good design.
It's a good design.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So then we'll like to discuss about Mohammad's design, that Mohammad Atif's design.
I thought it was actually a very good idea mixing like the stroller with the chair, and it was super simple and super clean, and he'd actually given it some thought, right, with his research and all. But there were also some issues like, they've used very small wooden pins that also act as the wheels, right? And it was not really safe, I thought. And if one of it gets pulled out, the design is gonna basically dismantle. So maybe he needs like a safer fix for the wheels than the wooden pins. And then there was no storage, so we'd also asked for a storage to store the toys. That was right there in the brief, and there's no storage and everything on it. But for sure, it's 100% safe. I gave it like a 5-star safety rating.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rating.
So I think a little bit different about this. For example, when you look at the child actually putting his arms onto the armrest, I'm not sure about the center of gravity and the tilting point.
Right.
So like when the child would be maybe pulling on the handle, could be easy that the chair just
fall
falls
off.
over.
Yeah, when
You
you're
might be
pulling, it
knocked.
might happen actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think this could be quite unsafe.
Stability can be an issue with
Stability can be an issue. Then you have to partly dismantle it in order to make it rollable.
Right.
Because otherwise you have the buttrest there, and also there's no way of steering it.
Mm.
So basically what the
goes in
child can
straight
do is
line.
like go straight
Yeah.
line until it hits the wall, and then that's it.
Correct.
So the idea is nice, definitely, like to have a versatile chair that you can also use to play with.
Yeah.
But like it's a stage 1 design, so
Exactly. It needs to improvise.
yeah, it needs to
100%.
improve a little bit and like get a little bit more in the
But it
practical.
was a good direction for
process.
sure, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Even I see directing it, it would go into one direction only. Directing it would be a difficult thing, and the second thing is I was expecting that he would have gone a little further in terms of attaching those wheels to the chair, because it has been done in a way we have been doing it for ages. So there should have been little more detailing would have been done on that side, because he just pinned the wheel like that, and it is not going to really last for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
So that durability, I see an issue with that. And secondly, as Timo said, it is very difficult to direct as it has 4 wheels. The child would only go in one direction. So
Yeah.
that's a challenge.
I think Devashish, I have one question for you. So you talked about the wooden pins. Okay.
Right.
So I would like to know more like, is using wooden pin a safer option, or
It's
substituting
not
it would be a
actually,
better
that's what I
option?
said. So what he's done is he's used like really small pins with the wheels that actually holds it in place. So I don't think that's really a safe option, and it could come out by accident, and the kid could play with it, they could topple over, and I'm sure they can find better ways to do it, especially because the wheels aren't really supposed to be taken off the chair, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually fix them in permanently in there. So it doesn't have to be like a removable pin. You can bolt it on. You can figure out some other way to do it. And then if you want to change directions, you can add that kind of component in it where you can actually also steer the wheels in the direction you're trying to go.
So next we'll start with Smriti K. So what are your thoughts about her?
Okay, yeah. So the Dragon's Den, really love the idea. Really love the presentation. It's kind of more of a bed combined with several toys and storage place and everything. Really, really cool. I love the presentation. But the research, I am not sure what was the source of research or what has been done. It's not really mentioned in the presentation, unfortunately. To be critical about these points, so we were looking for furniture that goes for a child from the age of 1 to 5. So I'm uncle to a niece, which is about to turn 2. And I don't like it's a nice gadget to have, like the 2 big piggy banks and the math calculator spinning toy. But then also, who gives a lot of money to a 2-year-old or something like this? Did not really understand it. Like maybe we can have another use case for this or something. And then also, when your child is 3 or turning 4 or something, I don't know how much equations they will do with like 3 digits and this and that. So it's a nice idea, but also not thought to the end of the process. Not really for the target group.
Right.
So maybe we could keep this design. We could keep the spinning wooden toy, but attach some animals to it and some this and that. Learn the colors, learn some shapes or something like this. Something, and something easier to comprehend for a child in the age of 1 to 5.
Right.
Because like they haven't even started school yet. Why would they do math calculations at home?
It's a basic symbol like abacus, and also about the
First, I would
what's
like
it
to
called?
I would like to put some light on where Smriti is coming from. So in culturally or in India, whenever our relatives come, they tend to give money to children. So essentially, we do give money to children, so which they can store, and as they grow on their 5th birthday or 7th birthday, they can get some good gift for themselves.
It's like a token of love.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like an Indian thing.
So it is maybe it's coming from there. I'm not sure really if that kind of culture is there in Germany.
Yeah, so definitely also the kids receive
Also,
money.
the point is not to just give the kids the money so they can eat it or something, but the piggy
That's what
bank
will
is there,
happen.
so you can the for example, the parent can help the kid, teach them to put the money in, and after a certain
Just
point of
save,
time they'll have the whole piggy bank filled with like
Yeah,
money,
okay.
right? And they'll have like a lot of money to buy a toy for them or
Teaching
some
the
other
concept
stuff.
of
It is
money at a
also
very
kind of-
early stage.
It is also kind of
Yeah.
imbibing, a culture of saving, maybe saving money. It is right from childhood.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So that's
usually
one point.
when I'm visiting my niece, I bought like lots of Desi toys. The last time I was visiting Germany, I was like, here, take this, and this is made in India, and so on. Proudly made in India with love. That's how you put it on your products, right?
Yes.
I really love that.
Yes.
That's so cool.
I mean,
Really good.
Even everyone does that, right? Even German does.
But you say made in Germany or something, but in it says in India, made in India with love and handmade and handcrafted by this woman from this village.
Yeah.
So you're
We try and put
you're
some
very
emotion
proud.
in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Emotion.
Emotion,
Personal
very
touch.
proud. That's very cool. I really
Yeah.
love that. That's great. Yeah.
With Smriti's design, I thought there were a few things missing. For example, in the brief, we'd asked them to give proper dimensions of the product.
Mhm.
There were absolutely no dimensions of
Yes,
the thing
yes,
on
yes.
it, and it doesn't give you an idea about the actual size of the thing, right? And for sure, it had a lot of interesting elements in the design, and it could even work with kids who've grown over 5 years of age, for example.
Yeah.
Still act as a bed for them, and a place to store this stuff and all. But also I thought it was kind of a little simple. It could have used like a little bit more like a fun approach to a few things, maybe make it a little more interesting. Probably it is kind of, I thought, a little too basic.
Also, in terms of manufacturability, if everything is supposed to be made out of wood, like maybe even solid wood or something like this, it's going to be very expensive. It's going to take a lot of time to manufacture one of these beds.
Yeah, for sure.
Two silly things I noticed in this particular design is, first of all, the notch where we would put hand and take out the bed, it conflicts with the bed, so there is no really a good grip for a hand to go inside and pull it outside, pull it out. So that is one problem I see as a design. And the second problem is, if you're giving a multiplication sign, then the matrix should have more digits.
More digits, yeah, exactly.
That is one silly problem.
Maybe it could have used just some numbers just for
I
them
guess,
to
for a
keep
child-
looking at it and learning the numbers 1 to 9 or whatever. something
Yeah, or
that.
like put
or
some
like some pictures or
put
make
some
it-
fur,
yeah.
put some wood, put some stone, like different
Yeah,
materials so you can
exactly,
touch and
exactly.
feel, like get the sense for this.
Improve their like cognitive function.
Yeah,
also.
exactly.
For
So
a child, for that age group, I guess the plus and the minus subtraction and addition is
Kind of
good
doesn't
enough.
make sense.
Yeah, multiplication is.
good
Yeah,
enough.
I
So,
would
okay,
say,
this
yeah.
is how you're gonna raise your child. I think we have to be very, very cautious in Germany. So, like, the Indians, like they're getting hardcore
kids-
educated.
Yeah, multiplication.
Training
at
begins
2 years
at a
old.
very early age.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if at all you want to put it, I mean, at least you can take away the multiplication sign. At least.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm happy with the design and aesthetics. As
So-
far as safety is concerned, I'm still happy with the Smriti's design. But this is one observation I have, that everyone has mentioned that their design is very safe. But in reality, it is
Because I think what's happening is they're imagining it in their head and they're not imagining it as a product. You know, they're trying to improve the idea they have in their head, right? But when you actually look at it in respect to how you're gonna make it, how it's gonna sit in a kid's room, for example, or things like that, then you get probably more ideas about what problems that could come out of it, for example.
So that's the one thing, and I think the thing that many of the contestants did is they did not do their research properly in the terms of what is my target group, kids in the age from 1 to 5, but what is the child like when it's 1 year old? Like, it's gonna crawl around there, it's gonna fall off, like bonk his head, and it's gonna start crying, shout, and whatever. Same with 2 years, maybe 3 years even. So the safety perspective for many contestants just has not been thought through thoroughly enough.
True, I agree.
Focus more on your target group. Try to get into the mind of a 2-year-old and like
That
being
is the whole point of
adventurous and
giving, like,
everything.
an age group for it, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were trying to basically teach the participants, right? Because we gave them a very specific age group to work with, right? And the furniture had to be according to that. That was the whole point of it. Right? Even for example, this bed, it would even work for a kid that's probably like 10 years old. I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
It has a long-term value to it.
Yeah.
But at the same point, when you're talking about somebody who's 2 to 5 years old, it doesn't really have that much value to the kid's life, for example. And it wouldn't make sense for the it would exactly.
As we are talking about safety, one of our external jury, Mr. Priyam, he pointed out one thing from Atif's design. So he especially mentioned that the legs of the chair, which are supposed to be at the upper end while the child drives that particular chair, they do not have rounded corners. They have very pointy corners.
Right.
So that is one of the safety hazard which the kid might face.
That was actually there in a lot of design. They got a lot of like sharp edges and everything, and a kid could hit their head or something and injure themselves, and that is something that they should have thought about. But I see most of the participants have actually not really given a thought to that, which they should have.
Yeah, agreed.
So now we'll be discussing about the design of Anushka. So what are your thoughts about it?
Well, Anushka was one of the simple thought executed well. I would expect her to do well with her presentations going forward. But more or less, I saw it as a very good design. But it was kind of simple, and she has scope of doing better presentations that would have pushed her a little further on the tally. Yeah.
She was in my top 3 for sure. Like, what I marked her, she did like a very good setup, and like, I thought the overall design was extremely functional, and there were a few negative points also. She also somehow did the wooden pins to hold the chair again together, which I thought was a little novice, for example. So if you got like, very interesting colored pins and shapes and whatever, you'd expect a kid to fucking pull it out, right?
Yes.
And then the chair is not together anymore. Like, especially because this chair is not supposed to be taken off anyways, right? So you could have used the pins, the shapes and pins, and put it somewhere else and actually screw in the chair so it's actually safer to sit on. Right. But other than that, I thought she was extremely true to the brief that we gave, right? So it's got a sitting area, it's got a place to store the toys, it's got a place to teach the kids, it's got a place to actually feed the kids. So it was actually very rounded off overall, and it was true to the brief. But other than that, especially the wooden pins that she used on the chair, I thought was not a really safe idea. Other than that, she was in my top 3 for sure.
Well, for the wooden pins, maybe we could use some coupling interlocking system.
Something but the point is, the chair doesn't have to even dismantle, right? You can screw it on.
The chair, which is an absolutely great thing that I really loved about this design, is that the chair is growing with the age of the child.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can use it in a small
stage, and you can just bolt it in. it's not going to happen overnight, right? It will happen like in 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or things like that.
Yes, but then like the chair could also be used like to play on it, for example. This was like the one thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with the table. So for some time, like if the child is sitting like this and doing some drawing or something, and if
There's
you
also
want
the
to read,
table for that. But yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
But
So
for sure, she could have done like a better alternative to the wooden pins, right? Because
Yeah.
the kids are also supposed to be playing with those pins.
I agree with what Devashi said is because the pin has this colorful thing to it, they might want to pull it off or something like that. So that can put safety into question. Having said that, I would like her to put those colorful shapes somewhere else and use pins like
Like a better mechanism to hold the chair together. I agree to the point where it's growing with the kid's age, right? And you can change the shape of it, but there'd be like 5 different alternatives to do it better, you know.
yeah, from the manufacturing point of view and from technical point of view, definitely. Also, like if you tilt the table, the diagonal distance between the points is going to be something different. So you have to be very specific about the interlocking.
Yeah, true.
But apart from that, like I would totally put this into the bedroom of my child.
I thought this was very functional and very
functional,
good for the
it's
overall.
Playful, colorful. Yes,
simple
some
but
shape,
well executed.
simple,
idea.
very well executed. Yeah, you can manufacture this in mass,
Very
definitely.
simple.
Yeah, so I really love the top 3,
Super
definitely.
cheap. That's why she was in my top 3 designs for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think if she has worked more on the presentation and if she would have made the entire presentation more attractive, her score might have improved and she might have gotten up the list or something like that?
That is very absolutely. I mean, her presentation would have been at a level of what Rohit Bish did with his presentation and what Jivarkish did with his presentation. She would have definitely among top 3 or top 2, I would say.
So Anushka, this is what you're supposed to work on and we are expecting better presentations from you in the upcoming design challenges.
So now let's come to Rithik Verma design. So what are your thoughts about his design?
I mean, I thought it was kind of a little difficult to manufacture. Manufacturability was surely a negative point for me. Then I also thought it was kind of very uncomfortable to sit on for long durations, right? And like it should have some kind of cushioning or some kind of stuff on it to actually make the kid actually sit on it and not just turn it into a decor in the house, right? The talkback feature on it was interesting. It would be like a nice gimmick to engage the kids and everything. Safety wise it was okay. It also had like a storage thing for kids, but it was kind of missing a few things from the brief, right?
So as we're talking about the safety, do you think it is safer to leave a kid on this particular object?
Not really.
Because there is no backrest, there is no support.
There's no backrest, there's no support. So this is one of the designs
There
I
is no handle.
shared with my sister actually. She was a mom of a 2-year-old and she was seeing this and she was freaking out immediately. Like the child is gonna slip off immediately. There's absolutely no handle. Like it's gonna fall and like whatever bump his head. And then also if you like want to put the child below the toy and then put the
just go on top of them.
Cozy place
this
can
will
be fitted.
this will whip one time and then might be another child or anything like a dog touching the toy. A child has the leg on the border of it and would just pinch.
By safety, I was talking about actually like sharp edges and all. Not
it doesn't have
edges.
sharp edges exactly, but what the minimum you should have is like proper handles for the child to hold
also
on
something for it to not like topple front and back or something like at least
is-
like a stopper on it that you can remove
There is
when
the
you
stopper.
need it.
There
is
is
a
a
stopper.
stopper, but
Oh, I forgot.
If you put
that
it away, then
stopper
it's gonna
can
be
actually
dangerous.
create an injury to a
Yeah,
child. If
yeah,
someone,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
say, if 2 children are playing,
Uh-huh.
one child just goes below that. I mean, if his hand can come under that stopper,
Right.
Yeah.
and
You
it can
can
create an
topple
injury.
it back and the stopper goes up in the air and then it can hit somebody.
So frankly, but in his presentation, he has shown a lot of research, so that the flat, his head is flat, and you can put a plate on it, but practically it is not possible. Frankly, he had shown that you can use it for eating and playing and stuff, but it is not practical.
Right.
Yeah, so
It's not really.
It's a cool design, definitely very artsy. and-
aesthetically it is pleasing.
Yeah, it's great for kids, and it's like it looks more like something to
Apparently,
play
that's the
with.
thing, no, people are more focused on making something that's aesthetically pleasing and not something that can actually be remade or something that's actually useful. Like they focused more on making it look good.
But that's what stage 1 design is it about, no?
Not really. I feel like when you're designing something, there has to be a couple of more parameters to it than just it like looking good. For example, it has to have like a sort of function to it, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, there's no point to a design if it doesn't have a function to it. And then there's also, you can look at manufacturability or like a price point to something, right?
Mhm.
So these three things I think are very critical when you're actually making something. It has to have, like, it has to look good, it has to have some sort of function that actually solves a problem, and then it has to be at the right price point for that kind of thing. Otherwise, it's not going to sell. And the whole point of making something is so you can actually sell something, right?
Yeah, and from the production point of view, so I think this whole thing is made out of plastic.
Yeah.
We would be talking about plastic injection molding,
Yeah.
Minimum 2 to 3 parts.
Easy. Probably
Considering the size of this, the tool is going to cost
more. Bomb, for
millions of dollars or crores, I would say.
Okay, so is this product commercially viable?
I don't think so.
The way it is at the moment, I would say no, because there's too many points that should be improved on concerning safety and like the handles and everything. But apart from that, like if you sell it in big scale, if you would sell it all over the world, then I think this would be commercial.
Yeah, maybe if you can improve a few things on it.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm really happy that he has gone for another material, because the designs which you have seen, most of them have gone for wooden-based furniture pieces. So he's one of those who has chosen plastic. And
what my observation is, when students are taking part in the competition, they are trying to stand out. So they are trying to be really, really creative, and in that process, maybe they are going too far off, and that's where they're losing on the the manufacturability and
losing track,
losing the grip on reality of things.
Yeah, but aesthetically, it is good. That's about it, I guess.
yeah. Okay.